Now I have erased my pictograph and I have drawn out a bar graph. Notice my lines are not completely straight. I did this by freehand, so if we were in class I would most definitely be using a ruler to make sure that my lines are straight and accurate. I'm still going to use this tally chart, this table up here, to answer my questions and to create this bar graph. So I still have to have a label, or a title, excuse me. Always have to have a title. My title is favorite subject. With this bar graph, it's going to be a vertical bar graph. I'm going to make it go up and down instead of sideways, which would be a horizontal bar graph. One thing that we must do anytime that we're doing a pictograph or a bar graph, we have to have that title. With this bar graph, I have to label these X and Y axes. So down here at the bottom, I have to label what subjects I am talking about. The favorite subjects are math, science, and reading. And then I have these lines coming off to the sides, left and right, these horizontal lines, and I have to tell you what do those stand for. And each one of these are going to be the number of students, so I label that. So I'm going to count by twos. This first line is 0. Second, down here at the bottom, 0. Then 2 is going to be that first actual line. 4, 6, 8, and then that last line up top is going to be 10. Now I'm ready to do my bar graph. I'm going to look at how many students voted for math, and it was 8. So I'm going to go right here for where math is, and I'm going to draw a line up to 8. And now I've got to make it a bar, so I am going to actually fill in that middle part and make it look like a rectangular bar. And you can see right there that I went up to 8. Science was 10. So science, my bar is going to go all the way to the top because that top line was 10. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to color it in. And for reading, it's 4. So I'm going to go up, that first line's 2. I'm going to go to that second line that represents 4. And again, I'm going to color this bar, this rectangle in, and there you have a bar graph. And you can easily look at your data based off of your bar graph that you can tell science is still the favorite, reading was the least favorite, and math was right there at 8. Again, I could have put lines in between each 2's and counted by 1's, but for time purposes and for quickness, I decided to go ahead and just count by 2's. That was a quick overview. I know that pictographs and bar graphs are still kind of a review from last year. You guys have touched on them. We've talked a little bit about it, not a whole lot, but I feel like this is pretty easy concept. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me, ask me any questions, but other than that, we did take in tally or data from a table and turned it into a picture graph and into a bar graph. That's our math today. So for specials today, it's kind of going to be your art class. And it's just, I don't care if it is an animal, if it's a person, if you do a comic, but my challenge to you is to draw a picture and have your parents either email it to me, send it to me through a text message, or send it to me through Class Dojo. But that's the challenge today. Your activity is to draw a picture. I'd like to apologize yesterday, guys. I didn't do our read aloud. We've been reading Junie B. Jones and Junie B. First Grader Toothless Wonder. When we last left off, Junie B. was with her grandpa. Didn't really like the fact that she lost her tooth, but it happened anyway. And so I know that we've read some of this, but it's been a while. We've been on spring break. So I'm going to start at chapter 5 where it's titled The Ferret. That night we had festivities. Festivities is when my grandpa and grandma come over and all of us eat cake. Grandma Helen Miller made the cake herself. She put a big smiley face on top. Only that is not all, 'cause the smiley face had a tooth missing, just like me. I laughed and I laughed at that silly thing. Then I reached in my pocket and I got my tooth. and I passed it all around the table. "Oh, that's a beaut, Junie B," said Grandma Miller. "I know it is, Grandma. I know it is a beaut," I said real proud. "I can't wait to take it to school for show and tell. The children are going to love it." Daddy looked strange at me. I don't know, honey," he said. "I'm not really sure you should take your tooth to school." Mother shook her head. "No, Junie B, that's definitely not a good idea," she said. "And besides, you won't even have your tooth on Monday, remember? You have to leave it for the tooth fairy tonight." Just then my skin got chill bumps again, and the flutterflies came back in my stomach, 'cause I know stuff about that fairy, that's why. My voice felt kind of shaky. "Yeah, only what if I don't want to leave my tooth for the fairy, Mother?" I said. What if I just want to take it to show and tell, and that's all?" Mother shook her head again. "No, Junie B, no show and tell," she said. "Taking a tooth to show and tell is just, well, it's just disgusting," said Daddy. "Yeah," said Mother, "disgusting. I wanted those two." "No, it isn't," I said. "Lots of kids bring teeth to school, 'cause one time Roger brought a shark's tooth, and he even let me and Herb put it right in our mouths, and then we looked like sharks too." I thought some more. "Plus another time, Shirley brought her grandmother's dentures, and a lot of us put those in our mouth too. Yuck." Grandma Miller did a little gag, only I don't actually know why. My grandpa patted her hand. "Just be glad she doesn't want to take the spit cup," he whispered. Just then my whole face lighted up, 'cause I have ears like a hawk, of course. The spit cup, I will take the spit cup," I hollered. I jumped up and down from my chair, and I zoomed to the bathroom. Then I got the spit cup out of the trash, and I dusted it off real good. "Good news, people," I shouted real loud. "There's still some blood around the edges." I quick ran back to show them. Grandma Miller closed her eyes at the sight. Then Mother put her head up on the table and hid her face in her arms. The festivities were over, I believe. After Grandpa and Grandma Miller left, Mother took me in the bathroom and we brushed my teeth real careful. Then I took my loose tooth out of my pocket and I brushed that guy too. I held it up with light. "Look," I said, "look how shiny I made it. I really wish that I could take this tooth to school, Mother. I really, really wish that with all my might." Mother gave me a hug. "I know you do, Junie B," she said. "But it's still going to be fun to put it under the pillow, isn't it?" She smiled. "I remember when I was a little girl, I couldn't wait to wake up the morning that I found out how much money the tooth fairy had left me." My skin got prickly at that name again. Also, sweaty came on my head. I thought and thought about what to do. Then finally I stood up on my tiptoes and I whispered to Mother's ear. "Yeah, only I know stuff about the fairy, Mother," I said. "I know the truth." Mother looked shocked at me. "The truth," she said. "You know the truth." "Yeah," I whispered again. "I know the exact truth, Mother, 'cause last year Polly Ann Puffer told me the whole entire truth." I took another big breath and I cupped my hands around her ear. And I talked even quieter. "The fairy isn't real," I said. "The tooth fairy's just pretend." Mother's eyes got real big and wide at me. "No," she said. "Yes," I whispered back. "Polly Ann learned it from his big brother. The tooth fairy isn't a fairy at all. She's actually a teensy little tooth witch." Mother's mouth came all the way open. "A tooth witch?" "Shh," I said. "We have to talk soft, Mother. If the tooth witch hears anyone telling her secrets, she flies into the room at night and she pinches their cheeks." Mother covered her face with her hands. She was in shock, I believe. "Polly Ann's brother even saw the tooth witch," I said, "'cause one night he put a tooth under his pillow, and then he stayed awake all night, and he saw the tooth witch fly into his room in a teensy little toothbrush." "Oh, my," Mother said. "I know it is oh my," I said, "and that is not even the worst part, 'cause the witch walked right under his pillow and she carried out his tooth, and then she chomped a big bite out of it, just like it was a little tooth apple." Mother made a noise behind her hands. I patted her very nice. "I know how you feel," I said. "This is very hard to hear." Finally, Mother took her hands away. "But it doesn't really make sense, Junie B," she said. "I mean, why would a mean little witch leave money under a pillow? A witch would never do something nice, would she?" I rolled my eyes way up in the ceiling, 'cause sometimes I have to explain everything to that woman, I tell you. "Of course she would, Mother, don't you get it? The witch leaves money so that children think she's really a fairy, 'cause children don't think there's a fairy that won't leave their teeth, right? And if they don't leave their teeth, the witch won't get any tooth apples." Mother closed her eyes very tight. Then all of a sudden she opened up the bathroom door and she ran right out of the room. She was taking it harder than I had thought. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter. We'll pick up tomorrow with Junie B. Jones, chapter 6, Full of Soup. As you can see, that Three Little Pigs book is definitely pretty similar to the original Three Little Pigs. So we're not going to make our graphic organizer. We're not going to do a T-chart today. After reading this, is what I'm going to do is I am going to have a Google Forms attached onto our Google slide presentation that you can navigate to. And I want you to not necessarily answer questions. I just want you to give me a summary about what this book was about, naming the characters, talking about what the houses were made of, what the wolf had a plan to do, what was the problem, and then what was the solution, or how did the story end. So you're going to actually complete a summary of this original Three Little Pigs off of my Google form that you can find in our Google presentation. And then that will, lead up till tomorrow, to where we will actually start talking about these two books that we have done, the Three Little Pigs. And then after we do the Three Little Pigs, both stories, we're going to make our graphic organizing T-chart that compares and contrasts characteristics. So that's our reading lesson today. Again, be looking for a Google form doc where you can get on and just give me a quick retail summary about what to do. Also, I would like you to get on iReady reading and do about 10 to 15 minutes of iReady, and then you can get on RAS Kids, or if you have the opportunity to do Myon, one of the two, you can get on there and listen to a book. I am not going to assign anything today on that. If you didn't get on RAS Kids, and yesterday you have some assignments that you can get on and listen to that. But if you get on any of the iReadies, the RAS Kids, the Myons, do about 10 to 15 minutes of each one of those. And that's our reading lesson today. Also, for your reading homework today, I want you to find a book or books, and I want you to spend 20 to 30 minutes of just reading, really focusing on building that fluency, where you're reading accurately, and you're also asking yourself questions as you go to build that comprehension. Don't worry about how fast you're reading, but really spend time to find a book or a couple books that you really enjoy, and dig deep and just immerse yourself in that story, in that book. And so your homework for reading really is just to read today. So just find you a good book, spend about 20 to 30 minutes of just reading and enjoying the book, and asking yourself questions as you go, just to help build that comprehension skill. So your homework is read a book. That's all I have. Remember your homework reading wise, just spend some time reading an actual book, 20 to 30 minutes of reading a book. You can get on iReady, you can get on Myon, you can get on RAS Kids, and just somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes on that. For writing, you can touch up on your Google Slides presentation if you did one on your state, or your actual homework that I'm assigning tomorrow is just to get onto Google Docs, share it with Mr. Elliott, and to just write about your e-learning day today and yesterday. Tell me how it went, what you thought, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, what would make it better, or whatever you really want to write about it. And I said that I would write some stuff down and share with you tomorrow. Math, the only assignment that I'm assigning you is to do, again, do the application problem. I'll do a Google form for your answer. Also on reading, you need to do a Google form for the Three Little Pigs that I read today. Give me a summary about the story and name the characters, what went on in the story. And so as we move forward in math, you got an application problem. I'd like you again to get on iReady and do a math 10 to 15 minutes, and then you can do a Zern lesson somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want you spending a whole lot of time, hours on hours doing that. And then just your activity, I'm challenging you to sketch a picture, draw a picture, have your parents find a way to send that to me through Class Dojo, email, send it to me in a picture through a text. Either way, that's our day for our second e-learning day. Have a good day. I wrote it on here. Have a great day, guys. And that's it for your second virtual day. I'll see you later, guys.